If you are brand new to the Bible and you don't know where to start, I'm actually really happy for you. Well, not the not knowing where to start part, but we'll help you with that. But if you're excited to open this book and to learn about God and to deepen your faith, well, that is one of the most important moments of your life. So in today's video, we'll discuss how to start reading the Bible. Now, if it's your first time watching Daily Bread with Dylan, consider subscribing and turning post notifications on so that you don't miss another video. Now, where do I start reading if it's my first time reading the Bible? Well, in my experience, starting at the right spot is so essential to reading the Bible. And the Bible is so unique in a way that you don't have to start on page 1 to begin. And honestly, my first suggestion to you is not trying to find the where, the how, the why, but to find the who. So, what do I mean by that? Well, first, having someone that you can trust and that knows their Bible is perfect for you, because that person can help to guide you and to answer questions for you, because the Bible does have a lot of complexities to it. And that person, that trusted person, can help you to understand what you're reading. And the Bible actually talks about this. Let's look at Acts 8, verse 30 through 31. Then Philip ran up to the chariot and heard the man reading Isaiah the prophet. Do you understand what you are reading? Philip asked. How can I, he said, unless someone explains it to me? So he invited Philip to come up and sit with him. And now we read further in verse 34 through 35. The eunuch asked Philip, tell me, please, who is this prophet talking about? Himself or someone else? Then Philip began with that very passage of scripture and told him the good news about Jesus. So just like the man in this book, be humble. Just like the man said, how can I know what I'm reading? And he was guided to the answers. All right, so now you have your someone and you have the something. Where do you start? First, let's break up the Bible. There's Old Testament and there's New Testament. And there's also so many different genres in the Bible. There's narratives, there's prophecy, there's parables, and there's poems. There's many different genres in the Bible. So the answer of where to start might be different for everyone. But the general rule of thumb is that you would start in the Gospels so that you can get to know Jesus. And it also helps you to read the Gospels and the New Testament first, because it helps you to have an understanding before you get into the Old Testament. So starting in the Gospels, that being Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And most people suggest that you start in John and then would read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and then skip ahead to Acts because you've already read John, and then read the rest of the New Testament. And now, along with each one of your readings each day of the New Testament, I would also go back to the Old Testament and I would read a psalm and a proverb each day. Now, Psalms is such a beautiful, poetic book. There's so many nuances and beautiful verses in there, and it's so encouraging. And to me, Psalms really relates to us as human beings and the trials and tribulations that we face each day. And Proverbs is perfect because most months have 31 days. If you read one proverb a day, you'll have read all the Proverbs. So now you've read the New Testament, and where do I start in the Old Testament? What do I do here? I would simply go to the Old Testament and start reading from Genesis, learn about creation. And honestly, I would just keep continuing on with it. And yes, there are some harder books to read, such as Leviticus and Numbers, and maybe even a couple other ones that maybe are different for you that maybe not spark your interest as much. But bear through those Bible books because there are so many amazing stories that are in the Old Testament. And all the popular ones that are in the Old Testament, such as the creation story, the story of Moses, Noah's Ark, the story of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their offspring, the story of Joseph and his brothers selling him to slavery and him becoming a ruler. There's so many just amazing stories. There's Samson and Delilah and his strength. There's Goliath and David. And there's so many popular, amazing, essential Bible stories found in the Old Testament. And so I encourage you to still read through the Old Testament once you get done with the New Testament. And you will have a better understanding of the Old Testament once you've read the New Testament. And now my final suggestion. I think it's really important to pick a proper version or a proper translation that you can understand best. And some of the versions that I would suggest are the NIV or the New International Version, the English Standard Version or the ESV, and the New King James Version, because all these versions are just more modern and easier to read than some of the older versions like the Old King James and so on. So really, no matter what my suggestions in this video were, no matter what your friends or your family or your pastor suggests to you, the main thing is that you're reading it and that you stick with it and that you're not afraid to ask questions or ask for guidance on what to do next or where to read next. So I hope God blesses you on your new faith journey and that He may bless you with the knowledge and the understanding to be able to read His Word, and that you may come to an understanding and be able to then progress His kingdom by sharing His great news to everyone that you know. Thank you for watching today's video, and if you would, please like, share, and comment down below where you started in the Bible if you were already a Christian who have read the entire Bible. It could help some of our new Christian friends to maybe understand where to start and where to begin. And if you are a new Christian, please comment down below any questions that you might have, because I'm sure that all of us would love to help you. And I will see you guys in the next video.